Hi, welcome to Brainstorm, a podcast about writing, genre fiction, and moral quandaries. I'm fantasy author Clifton Hill, and I'm fresh out of neurons. In episode 5, I'm returning to review more of the HBO series Game of Thrones. Listen to the first part in episode 4. It's been years since I read the Song of Ice and Fire series, and at least a couple since I read A Dance with Dragons. Intriguing to see the differences between book and TV series. That, or I remember the books differently. While this might have been a bad thing with some book adaptations, the characters, the story, the acting is all so well done that instead it is just a fascinating comparison of what they chose to do differently. Now, the show absolutely rips through book 1. There's more nudity and sex in the show than I would have anticipated. And Renly is gay. Either I really missed this in the books or Martin was very, very subtle with his hints. And the Hound is a pretty boy. Quick note. When I watched the series, it was 2016, and there was a special on Hulu to add HBO for $5 per month. I think the price is now something like $15. So sorry, also in the show, more road noise on this episode and for the near future. Eventually I'll get to recording new content, and I'll do that, or at least try to do so from home. Now, on with the show.
So last time I talked briefly about Game of Thrones on HBO, the TV adaptation of the million plus, probably multi-million selling popular book series, Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. And I was going over some of the wonderfulness about the TV series. So now I think I'm on episode 8 or 9, and the pace of this first season is really just tearing through the first book, which, I think is probably great for bringing in new audiences that aren't maybe potentially willing to sit around and wait to see what happens. As a fan of the novels, I do have to say, though the TV series is very well done so far, I am missing some things. I'm missing some of the subtleties, the intricacies, some of the mystery, even some of the big mysteries. They actually are kind of throwing out there early on. I suppose it was fairly well presumed this is what was going to be happening, but there's a scene where let's see, the girl, this young Stark girl, I'm totally blanking on her name, but it starts with an A. Anyway, so she's hiding out, not really hiding out, she's seeking a cat in the catacombs of the Red Castle, which is the castle of the king for Westeros, King Baratheon. And so she's lurking through the darkness, kind of a little bit lost, and she hears these two mysterious individuals talking. And they're talking big, sweeping scope, bad things about the nation and about what will be coming. That's dastardly. Gives you a nice sense of foreboding. In the book, unless I'm highly mistaken, these voices were faceless. We did not know them. Now, granted, Stark's daughter, she's not involved in politics. She's a young girl, so she wouldn't have known, and this was from her perspective. But, in the TV series, it's very blatantly obvious. They don't try to hide the faces or the voices. So you as the viewer know instantly, oh, okay, the spider is one of those voices. And I just rewatched the episode because I was kind of blown away by it. But I think it was the Littlefinger was the other one. No, actually, sorry, someone else. A face I don't think I know yet from the TV series. So that's some of the major differences between the two. And these are granted big spoilers. Sorry, preface, big spoiler alert. But you know what? I mean, this has been very popular. They're on season 7 or 8, so sorry. If you haven't watched it, well, if you haven't read it, what can I do for you? So, what else about the series? Well, there's a lot more blatant nudity and sex in here than I was really kind of expecting. Um, Granted, there's a lot in the books, but and it's fairly in your face, I guess. But some of the stuff that they've done and shown is kind of surprising. But anyway, um, I I guess yeah. Ultimately, I guess my main thing here I wanted to talk about was that though it's good, it does actually mostly just make me want to read the books again, which that's going to take a lot longer. So I will have to budget that into my time. And what else? What else popped out to me about? Oh yes, the Renly and I forget his name. The Prince of Flowers, I think, his kind of call sign is that they're gay and that they are in a relationship. Wow. Okay, it makes sense. It's not called out in the book at all, um, but I can totally dig it. It seems like it is consistent with the characters. Um, and it adds some interesting depth, which I don't think was actually um, in the books. So I guess I'm kind of looking somewhat forward to the end of this season one, with how they pull it off. I'm also, not because of what happens at the end of season one. Um, when I read the books, it was one of those moments where I had to put the book down. I had to put the book down, take a breath, and just shake my head in disbelief. George R. R. Martin, you got me. You got me good. Did not see that coming at all. Um, but but it was one of those moments that was so well foreshadowed, and I think this is probably something to take away from this as a writer, or just a reader enthusiast. But as to the mechanics, is that they talk a lot about this on the Writing Excuses podcast about having things that are surprising yet inevitable. You want to do let's see. Yes. Actually, I'm not even sure if they're actually saying that exactly. I think I'm thinking of something else. But in the moment, let's go with it. Surprising yet inevitable. It is, I think, a good fundamental thing to have in your books. You don't want the reader bored, so they kind of have to be surprised. But you don't want them shocked beyond belief. You don't want them thinking this doesn't make any sense. That throws them out of the book. Yes, granted, I did put the book down for a moment, but it was only just to digest, to kind of take a moment, like you're in a good meal and you're really enjoying, you just kind of want to almost savor the flavor. Not that this particular moment at the end of season one, book one, was a good thing, a good flavor to savor, but just, I guess it was a very complex flavor. There was an element of reward to it, even if it wasn't something I wanted. Maybe kind of like having really well done vegetables, perhaps. So it was so well foreshadowed. We knew in advance that Ned was, and I need to reread because I thought it was Neddard Stark, not Eddard Stark. Anyway, maybe they changed that for the show. But it's so well foreshadowed that his sense of moral purpose is strongly at odds with the Game of Thrones. And having him run afoul of it, it makes sense. It totally does. Even though, you shake your fist in the sky and scream, no. But hey, if justice prevailed, well, I mean, I guess the book would be done at, book 1. Unless you wanted to switch perspectives to the Lannisters and all the other people that would then be suffering I don't know if I want to say worse fate, because we know everyone gets a lot of bad stuff in the end here, but a pretty different fate, I guess, and from their perspective, probably more negative up front instead of down the line. So early karma instead of later karma. So yeah, so that was interesting. I guess one gripe, as it were, as small as it is, about the TV series is I didn't get all of the fantastical elements that I guess I was kind of hoping for. You know, the armor in the book, in my mind, is so much more vibrant and alive with detail, and you can just focus in on it, and it provides these wonderful visuals that are just so in sync with the houses and their individual insignia and so on. Which, of course, it's a TV series, has to kind of move along. It's kind of hard to just zero in on that kind of stuff and focus on it, like for more than just here and there. We get the Hound's disfigurement and his unique armor, which was very different. And actually, even his disfigurement it's strange. Like, from a distance, like for the first several episodes, his disfigurement, it didn't seem bad at all. I was like, oh, whatever. I like his hair. Nice. But it does actually come out much more strongly once you move in closer. So, that's kind of strange how that works. But I guess it saves on makeup time if it's not too bad. I also wished the mountain was bigger. Yes, he's a big guy, towers above everyone else there. But in the books, he towers above everyone in there. So it's like he's like 8 foot tall, 400 pounds muscle, and the other, and we're also missing that kind of in between. You've got the average knights, and then you've got the big knights, like even the Hound is kind of a big knight, and I think what is it? I think a number of the other knights seemed like they were quite substantial, just not like Gregor McLean size, obviously. But the human cast and the time frame for budgeting and special effects, I get the realities of it. So it didn't linger with me too much, and acting was well done. Gregor McLean is a suitably evil bastard. So that all works well. It's interesting too what they're doing with Jon Snow. I don't recall him being so hot-headed in the book. Maybe it was because the story was told from his perspective in a lot of his scenes, and I wouldn't want to think of myself as hot-headed, but rather that his actions were suitably justified. Strange. Well, I don't know what else we can take from this. I'm excited to watch more. I'm still enjoying my Hulu $5 a month special add-on for HBO. Can't beat that. So, yeah, hey, if you're out there, you don't need to pirate the stuff. $5 a month on Hulu. Support the series. I guess we can go on a little side caveat here. I know Game of Thrones being as widely popular as it was and exclusive to HBO, it probably suffered an awful lot of piracy. I want to make a note here. So I get it, when we have stuff that we want to see, read, whatever, that it is hard to wait. It is hard to sometimes buckle down and find the money for it. If you're strapped as a student, college student, young employee on the workforce, whatever it may be. But I've always tried. Well, not tried. Okay, so I've never pirated anything. I think there was something that was given to me that was a pirated copy once. I looked at it for purely reference sake. So try not to. Try to support your artists, even if you have to wait a little while. If you don't like waiting, then why don't you petition the artists, the distributors, whoever they may be, to make it available sooner or at a lower, more reasonable cost. Because, hey, it's like you like your arts, you like your movies, your books, your music. Support the artists. Now, yes, if you're signing up for HBO, you are paying into a large multimedia conglomerates. I think it's multimedia. We'll assume. We like to assume sometimes. But just because it's a big company doesn't mean you shouldn't support them. I mean, if you like the work, then support them. Support them financially so that more of it is produced. I mean, if that's what you like. If you don't like that stuff, if you would prefer to only be able to watch free puppy videos and poor indie flicks that are all that's available off of YouTube or something like that, perhaps, because no one gets the sufficient funding from their fans to be able to support it, then don't. But anyway, it feels good to have waited and to now be watching, and I guess that sounds a little prissy, but or higher than thou. So sorry, but anyway, I like to support the artists. I am an artist, and I hope that anyone that wants to read my stuff will support me. And there is plenty of free or inexpensive stuff of mine to read.
Thanks for listening, dear reader. Visit www.cliftonh.com, subscribe to my newsletter, and read my books. Reading is awesome.